Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome here. It's that time again where we get to discuss marriage issues. How are you doing today? How is your Wednesday going so far? So, as you join me, say hello, say hi. Let me know where you are watching me from. So I'm super excited today. The topic is quite sensitive, like I said, and I'm super excited to be here again today. So who is here with me? As you come in, say hello, say hi. Let me know where you're watching me from. Let's quickly get started. Today, the topic is why are women being abused? Why? Why? Now, before I get started, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Chux-Orji. I'm a relationship and marriage counselor. I'm an infidelity recovery coach. So please, as you come in, say hello. Let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me. Please, I see you watching. If you can see me and hear me, please let me know. Let me know. Ella Onyi, thank you for joining me. Please, can you see me? Can you hear me? That will help me a whole lot. Please, I would like to know. So today we are discussing an interesting topic. It's very sensitive. It raises a lot of emotions, and it is as if it is endemic. It is an endemic issue. So today I am bringing, trying to talk about this topic from a different perspective. So come. Let's get started. So why are women being abused? Why? There's a whole lot of crisis going on. We've heard a lot of issues. We've heard a lot of stories. Today, marriages are going through several crises. Um, Men are being abused. Yes, women are being abused. But for today, for the purpose of this video and this session, I am going to be focusing on women. Why women are being abused? Yeah. I'm allowed to be partial. Let's talk about my gender today, yeah? So, let's get started. My fellow women, come let us reason together. Let us really talk about these issues. Let's try to address these issues from a different perspective. All the men here, you are welcome to join us. Feel free to join us. You are going to be taking one or two lessons with you as well as we proceed. The whole aim here is to for the greater good of the family system. Everything is geared towards making the family units more functional, more effective, making marriages work. So we need to understand why some of these things happen. Then we're going to be able to tackle these problems from the root. It will help us a whole lot. Now, before I proceed, I would like to do a few disclaimers or make a few points clear so that we are all on the same page. This is not to berate anybody who is currently going through any form of crisis in their relationships or in their marriage. That's number one. Secondly, the purpose of this video, before I proceed, is not in any way to start a gender war or to start a gender fight. If you know me, if you followed me for a few times or gone through my post, you will understand that I am not involved in anything that suggests fighting against the women or fighting against the men or all these gender wars that go on here on social media and actually in real life. This is not to berate the men. This video is not to berate the women. The whole idea of this video is for us to reason together and try to look at these issues from a different perspective and see how we are going to bring in lasting solutions that will help curb these excesses of women being abused constantly in relationships, in marriages, and everywhere else. So, some time ago, the whole world was agog. Okay, Nigeria was agog with domestic violence that led to the death of somebody. And over the weekend, we still saw lots. We've seen lots of abuse. Women being abused. Like I said, men are being abused. But we're talking about women today. Now, we've seen lots of such cases. Lots of such cases have happened. Yes. Sorry, my son is here. He's awake. I'm not sure. I can't take him away. So he's going to be joining us for this video. Daddy, can you sit here? Sit down here. This one. Sit. All right. So let's continue. Let's proceed. The owners of the house are here. He was sleeping before I came here, so I didn't know he was going to be awake. So let's get started. Let's continue. So people have raised when that issue happened. People. There was a whole lot of emotions. The social media space was agog. People kept berating the men. Men don't learn. Men this, men that. Women listen. Women don't die. Women do that. And you would think that women were going to learn some lessons. You would think that men also were going to learn some lessons. But till today, I can tell you for free that things have really not changed. More women are being abused. More men are still abusing women. So these things have not really changed anything. So what really is the issue? What are we not doing right? Is it about talking? Is it about coming here to shout and yell and, tell the men, call men all sorts of names, men are this, men are that, and the men will also come up and say, yes, it's because of the women, they do this, they do that, and we just keep the blame game on and on and on and on. Has it really solved any problem? Do you think it has solved any problem? Personally, I don't think so. As a relationship and as a marriage counselor, we still see this abuse every single day. We deal with it, relationship issues. Women are still being abused in their relationships, and most of the times they sit back, enable, condone, and excuse these abuses. So when we begin to attack the men, is it really their fault? When we begin to attack the women, what is really the root cause of these issues? That's what we are talking about today. Like I said, till today, more people are being abused in their relationships, more women are being abused in their relationships. So what really is the problem? Now, from my observation, from the sessions I've had, from the contact of people I've had, from the people I speak with constantly on a daily basis in my line of work, I have come to a conclusion that part of the reason why a lot of women are being abused, though we are going to get there, is that a lot of us women, we do not have, there's a lot, there's so much missing somewhere. There's a root cause of the problem, because something cannot just be happening out of nowhere. If you're being abused constantly and you're there allowing it, excusing it, and condoning it, something is wrong somewhere. So I want us today to try to begin to look inwards. As women, how are we part of the problems? What can we do differently? As parents, what can we do differently to break this cycle? Enough of the blame game. We've blamed the men folk a lot enough. We've blamed the female folk a lot enough. Now, we need to come together and begin to ask some very pertinent questions. What is the cause? How are we the cause of this problem? What can we begin to do differently today, starting from today, differently, so that consistently and over time we can break this cycle of abuse? Because there are things we are constantly doing today that will just ensure that this does not stop. So we need to understand the cycle and be able to break the cycle. Something is leading to men abusing women constantly, recklessly, and all that. Now, something is leading to women sitting back and accepting, condoning, and excusing abuse, all forms of abuse, over time. Something is the cause of the problem. Now, let's start looking at it from this perspective. Maybe, just maybe, over time, we will be able to break this cycle. Now, like I said, this is not to start a gender war, please. It's just for us to look at these issues critically and be able to find solutions, lasting solutions. Now, I have observed from experience that part of the major reason this happens is because we do not have, we the women, I'm talking about how are we the problem? How do we take a part of this blame and begin to do things differently? So the other person, who maybe we've marked in quotes that they are always prone to abusing this other gender, what do we begin to do differently to be able to curb these excesses? I have observed that a lot of women have issues with how they see themselves, with their self-esteem. A lot of us, we have issues with how we see ourselves. when you are not aware of who you are, we don't even know who we are as women, as a girl, as a woman. Who are you exactly? When you understand, when you are sure of your identity, who you are, you begin to treat yourself like that identity in quote. So your first task is to identify who you are. When you are able to identify who you are, you begin to treat you according to you, that person you have identified. How do you treat yourself? How you treat yourself will determine how any other person will treat you. So a lot of women have so reduced themselves, their self-image, their self-esteem is maybe very low or non-existent at all. So you don't treat yourself well, you don't carry yourself well, you don't have this healthy self-image of who you are. So how do you expect another person to create it for you and begin to treat you as such? It's just going to take a very few portion of the population to be able to do that for you. Self-awareness, self-identity, laced with a healthy self-esteem is very critical for every woman. And we will understand it. When you are self-aware, you are able to identify who you really are. Then when you identify who you really are, you determine how you treat that person you've identified. And that's how every other person around you is going to treat you. So a lot of the times, it's not really about the person who is abusing us. It is about what we are giving off, how we are enabling the abuse, how we are part of the problem. That's what we're looking at today. So as a woman, you need to start checking, how are you treating yourself? What image of yourself do you have? Who are you? Have you identified that? Now you begin to live like the person you've identified. You are a queen. You are a force to reckon with. You set the standard and the bar high. This is not pride. This is not about pride. This is not about pride. This is not pride. This is not arrogance. This is you being self-aware, self-conscious of who you are, so that you are aware when somebody treats you less of that person that you are. So check these things. When somebody is treating you, abusing you, whether physically, whether emotionally, whether verbally, aside from whatever problem that person has, that's not the issue. About you, check how have you given off some form of things to allow this to happen. How have you enabled this in any way? You need to do that retrospection on your own. So you see where maybe you have given this enough, where you have failed in this, begin to work at it from that place. Now, let us look at some of the reasons why women are actually being abused in their relationship. Like I said, self-esteem. Self-esteem is core for every lady. Self-esteem is core. Now, one of the reasons why women are being abused in their relationships, generally, whether marital relationships or just, dating relationships, courting relationships, or the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship that we do, some of us people do, one of the reasons that these things happen, we have to go back to the roots. We need to start tracing these things back to the root to see how we're going to bring in a holistic approach to it all. Now, there is a place of parenting in the life of a child. The effect of parenting in the life of a child, a child who then becomes an adult. We are all a product of how we are raised. One of the major reasons this abuse is ongoing, we have to start looking at how we are raising children who become ladies, who become men. We need to go back and look at these things. How are we raising our children? A lot of ladies are abused today because of the kind of upbringing that they were given. People who grew up in toxic environments, people who grew up in toxic environments grew up traumatized. People who grew up in the places who were raised in an abusive environment where there is yelling, where there is constant beating, where there is constant verbal abuse, where there is violence, very toxic environments. They see these things as normal. So you grew up in a place where your parents abuse each other, they yell at each other, they constantly abuse and literally curse each other, call each other all sorts of names. You see couples fight and their children are watching. What you're doing at that point is you're setting a standard. You're in the child's brain that you're making this normal. So it is okay to call people names, and the next day both of you are happy, both of you are enjoying yourselves, and probably they see you apologize to each other, then the next day you continue the same thing. What you have done in the brain of that child, whether a boy or a girl, is to normalize violence, is to normalize abuse, so they can take it tomorrow wherever they are. Now, you also yell at your children. You know, when we talk about yelling at children, Africans will say, "Oh, if you don't do it, they will go astray." You know, those kind of things, and we come up with all sorts of things. They will beat you, yell at you, and all that. Tell you that it is somebody you love that you chastise, and that's how best we know to chastise children. Yes, some of us have left that table and we have repented and we are doing better and we're getting better results. So the way you raise your children may be setting them up for abuse, and there is nothing they can do about it as adults, because this is programming from childhood, except they grow up as adults and begin to reparent themselves. But if that does not happen, the way children are raised will set them up for abuse. So if we are going to even try to curb this cycle of abuse, we need to come down and begin to look at how we are raising children who become adult females and males tomorrow. It is very critical for us. Now, you raise these children, you abuse them, you call them names. You see parents call their children all sorts of names. I can't even begin to mention them here. You know, you call these children these names. The next minute you tell them, and that is love. So to them, when they grow up and they are in relationships and they are not being yelled at, they don't feel the person loves them. So you hear adults, girls, tell you that if the man does not beat them, they don't understand why the man they are living with will not beat them. That means the person does not love them. Or if he's not shouting at them, that means they don't love them. So they have normalized abuse from childhood. So it's even going to affect the kind of people they mingle with tomorrow, because they will actually go and have relationships with people who are violent, people who are abusers. They are the people they are going to tilt towards, because these things are normalized from childhood. So if we are really serious about breaking abuse, the cycle of abuse in women, we need to go back and look at how we are raising our girls. We look at how we are raising our boys. So another thing you see another effect of parenting, how it leads to abuse in adult years, is you see parents abuse their children, abuse each other. You know, and these things will be there. There's no how you can't escape it. Now the second thing is, when children, girls especially, I talked about girls and self-esteem. If you read the book Raising Girls, you will have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Every girl child must need somebody, their parents, to intentionally instill self-esteem, healthy self-esteem, high self-esteem in them as girls, and especially during their teenage years. If these things are not instilled in those children, they will have self-esteem issues as adults. And once an adult has self-esteem issues, there is a high tendency that they will be abused. Because your sense of self and value and self-worth is non-existent. So you don't even know how when somebody is not treating you well. Low self-esteem is one major issue that it is the bane of the girl child. Low self-esteem is the bane of the girl child. So as parents, it is your job. So for those of us who are parenting in this generation and time, if one of my coaches will say that it is up to us, this generation of parents, we are the millennials. Yes, the millennials are the one parenting the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas. Now, it is this generation of parents that will get it right. If we don't get it right, the next generation is in trouble. So we are talking about abuse now. If we don't do things differently currently, the next generations, the ones our children will face, you will not be able to imagine it. So what we need to start doing right now as parents is to look at how we are parenting these current boys and girls that God has placed in our hands. We need to begin to do a lot of things differently. For your daughters, you need knowledge as a parent in the 21st century. If you are not constantly updating your parenting knowledge, you are failing already. You are you're setting your children up for abuse tomorrow. Because you need to parent differently in this day and age. If you must make sure that your children, that your girl child is never abused, and your boy child never become an abuser. Never ever turn into an abuser tomorrow. It is the way you parent them now. So for your girl child, every girl child must need to be taught self-esteem. It is taught. That's why the Bible says you should train a child the way the child will grow. This process of training is very much. You need to know that your girl child must be taught self-esteem. And by both parents, especially the father. It is the job of the father to make sure that the daughters have healthy self-esteem. You are the first model of a man that they know. So you are the one that will show them how a man should treat a lady by the way you treat them. So if you're constantly shouting down on your children as a father, as a mother, you're constantly yelling at them, you are not affirming them, you are not treating them like queens. How do you expect them to know how they should be treated tomorrow? Except they grow up as adults and must have made mistakes and begin to reparent themselves, read books, learn, and begin to do a lot of things differently. You don't want to give them such burden. Do these things on your own. As a parent now, parents of today, we need to begin to do a lot of things differently. If we are really serious about curbing this cycle of abuse in marriages, in relationships, everywhere, we need to look at how we are raising these people that become abusers and then these people that sit back and take abuse. Because I can't understand how a full-blown lady will sit in a place where she's constantly berated verbally, where she's constantly abused emotionally, where she's constantly abused psychologically, physically, and she's there. And she's not trying to help herself. She's not trying to seek for help. She's not trying to leave. She's not trying to do nothing. She's not even trying to hold the man, the abuser, accountable. She's just relaxed and taking it and taking it. Something is wrong somewhere. A lot of these issues is hinged on low self-esteem. So where do we begin to teach low self-esteem? It's from the cradle. Especially during the teenage years. Let me sit down. During the teenage years, very critical. So we need to, if we are really serious about curbing the cycle of abuse, we need to start parenting the next generation differently. Teach your daughters how to be treated. Teach them, let them know who they are. Let them know that they are worth so much. Let them know that nobody's allowed to bully them. Nobody's allowed to abuse them. When let them teach them how to identify this abuse. So they know who they are. They're able to identify it, even by the way people relate, by attitude. Anyhow, the person, they should be able to spot it and nip it. If you keep allowing it and be sure that there is no abuse going on in your environment, It is an intentional thing. So as parents, you can't, I said sometime in one of my videos that once you become a parent, you have lost the ability to behave the way you like. You have to behave in accordance to the product you want to see in your children tomorrow. So you know a product, you know the result you want to see in each of your children. You are going to start behaving in a like somebody that will achieve that result. So every of your actions will be gearing towards achieving that result. If it's not going to achieve that result, then you need to abort it immediately. This is one of the ways you can cop it. So apart from raising doors and calling men this, calling men all that, calling men, the boys in our homes today, the girls in our homes today, what are we doing differently to ensure that we don't raise daughters with very low self-esteem that will sit back and take abuse? What are we doing differently to ensure that we don't raise sons that will become bullies and abusers tomorrow? It's about how we are raising them. So we owe these children, we owe the next generation a whole lot. This is the perspective I'm bringing to us today. Now, second reason why women are being abused. Secondly, women, we don't place value on ourselves. We don't. When I listen to ladies talk, when I run premarital classes, when I just talk about relationship issues and I'm trying to mediate relationship issues, and you hear the way some ladies talk, you won't try to look further why they are being abused. We don't place premium value on ourselves. Who are you? Dear woman, a lot of women, we have been hardwired to think that we are just existing. All of your existence is because of the man. I don't understand. This is why. This is how we enable it. When you don't value yourself, how do you expect somebody else to value you? You have devalued yourself. So the person comes in to help you. Now, God help you that you will meet somebody. And once you're like that, you will always meet those narcissists that want to take advantage. Because the correct men, the very real men, they're not looking out for people who don't have a healthy self-image. So you will naturally attract those ones that are looking for who to prey on. And that is usually what happens. That's usually what happens. Now, we feel that we are worth nothing, that a woman's life is centered on the man. Even the way our parents do it sometimes. You see mothers telling you, you do something wrong. As a girl, you're doing something and you see the mother saying, you can't sweep. Is this how you're going to sweep in your husband's house? So, a child of 10 years, you're already telling her, so you cannot sweep this house. Is this what you're going to do in your husband's house? So you are already programming the child. So everything about this girl, she's learning, she's sweeping, she's cooking, is because she will cook in her husband's house. That's a very wrong programming. It is a wrong programming, it is limiting, and it is disempowering. So from cradle, you have set up your child, your daughter, to know that everything about her is just to end up in a man's house. So she has nothing to offer. So she's learning how to sweep so that she can sweep her husband's house. Not even to master the skill of sweeping and survival skill for her own self. So she's learning how to cook, not to feed herself, not to eat and be healthy. It's for her to cook, learn how to cook so that she can now cook. Yeah. So this wrong programming, this is how we are also setting our children up for abuse. We need to look at these things from this place. If we can change, if we can overhaul how we are raising people, we will be able to get a lot of these things. They will naturally die. They will naturally fizzle away. Because what you will do is to raise somebody who cannot just sit and... when people say that they are being abused, sometimes, really, I can't relate because I can't understand. Nobody can abuse me. Why will you abuse me? As in, why? Why will you abuse me? On what grounds? So it's not a topic for discussion. It's not up for discussion. So these things will naturally die a natural death if we begin to do things differently, they will die off. So this whole thing even adds to pressure of ladies. So everything I'm doing, let me learn, oh, let me learn to sweep, oh, let me learn to cook, oh, let me be domesticated, oh, so that I can do it in my husband's house. This is limiting. It is disempowering. So the girl child is first of all a human being here for a purpose, here to make an impact, to contribute her quota to society. Everybody's not going to get married. So if you hardwire all your daughters, all the girls, set them up for marriage, some people naturally don't want to be married. They just, and it's nothing is wrong with that. Trust me, I believe in marriage. I love marriage. I am a marriage counselor. But we can't raise children with that programming. It is disempowering and it is limiting. We need to stop. And it is part of why you see ladies who are under pressure to be married and they end up making mistakes. Because from when they started understanding ABCD, it was marriage, man, husband, your daughters. You're already talking to them about husband. You're already talking to them about marriage. You marry a good husband, though. Your obodo ibo husband, though. All these things are disempowering and they are limiting. So you put them under pressure. That's another thing that can happen. You put them under pressure. And when somebody is under pressure, they are bound to make mistakes. They are bound to compromise. And they will end up with abusive partners. Likely, not all of them, but this is one of the reasons. So we need to begin to look at these things critically and differently. As parents, we have a whole lot. We have a whole lot of work to do. There should be a plan for everything. There is time for everything. Don't just start from the cradle and begin to, make it seem as if everything about your daughter is just about the man. It's about the man. It's about the man. They should know, yes, you're supposed to be married at this. You have that plan for everything. There's a milestone for everything. So it has not gotten to the point. You're already talking about it. And you're already making it as if that is the center. If this thing doesn't happen, every other thing you've achieved in your life is worth nothing. So being who you are, achieving purpose, making impact, being somebody of repute, building a career, building all these things. No, we're not talking about it, but you're just talking about these things. So you're going to be very, very wary. If you're becoming like this, you will see that you're going to raise different set of children who know who they are and know how to attract their kind. It is very important. Now, another reason why women are also being abused and a lot of things go wrong and a lot of mess go on in the society is that women, we have this scarcity of men mindset. And I don't know how that happened. A lot of women believe that men are scarce. And this is why we compromise a lot. We are looking at how we are part of the problem today. And how we can begin to do things differently, even for the next generation. We believe that there is scarcity of men. So, we can actually run around and pick anyone because men are scarce. And that good men are scarce. So, anybody you see, just collect. So, you see all the red flags. When we talk about abuse and we are berating the men and we're saying men, I always ask. But sometimes it's always very sensitive and people are very sensitive to, if you're not part of, talking down on all the men. Or we will always ask. These signs, they are never hidden. If you know what to look out for, you will be able to spot an abuser from miles away. But half of the times, it will interest you to know that almost 80% of the times, women who have been abused, they knew that this person has that tendency, but they went ahead with it. What was the reason? Few men are scarce. The good men are scarce. Men are all of them are the same. So better collect the ones you have, else another person. Some of us, we even fought for the men. You fought other ladies so that you be the one the man ends up with. How do you think that abuse will not likely take place in that place? Because that is devaluing yourself. That mindset is limiting. That mindset will set you up for problems in the future. It's not a must. Marriage is good, it's important. But karma, instead of you to go and make this, it's not by force, it's not a must. We don't get it. When we are saying it's not a must, so it's not by force. When we go in, we will now start saying it's not a must, it's not by force. We should accept that it's not a must, it's not by force, so that we do things differently and go in well. That scarcity of man mindset is killing us. Men are not scarce. Good men are not scarce. Find what you want. Wait for what you want. Go in at the right time. Don't devalue yourself. That scarcity of mindset, it almost happened to me because growing up, you in your friends, in your location, everybody girls talk, and you hear this all the time. It was rampant. Once you enter school, we had a lot of our friends getting married. A lot of my friends got married. My classmates, even everybody was getting married around me and all that. And when we gather to talk, you hear these things of, maybe it's now that there's a time when men are coming and coming and coming and coming. Very soon they will stop coming, and that time they stop coming, there is trouble for you. So better be grabbing one now that everybody's falling over you. We all went through these things, but something helped me. First was my mom. She was not. Hers was like, you need to know a lot of things. And me, I started learning about marriage even before I even entered university. So I already had an idea of what I need to do before I get married. So I knew I had not done a lot of things. I've not prepared on a lot of grounds. So, but on the issue of men as scarce, something helped me. Philippians 4:19 helped my faith, actually, not to be consumed then. And my God will supply all my needs according to his riches in glory. So nothing is scarce. You have a father who can supply all. So if it is scarce, it's not for you. You are operating on a different frequency. So please teach your daughters the same thing. Make sure that this mindset does not take root in the daughters you are raising today, that men are scarce. Because that is part of the reason that we go and compromise on a lot of things, and we go into these relationships and it becomes hell. The other one is that all men are the same. All men are cheats. All men are men. The funniest one is that men are polygamous in nature. All these things are lies from the devil, Lord. And we accept it, and we take it. What are we even doing? And some of us even go ahead to tell the men, you people are like this, so better take this so that you don't come and give me infection. You know what we give them? Some women give them. What are we even doing? We're even enabling the men the more. Oh, since they already know that we are like that, let's kukuma continue. You are not holding them accountable. You're not holding the men accountable. It's even affecting how you're raising the boys. So you bail out your boys. You excuse their irresponsibility. You don't teach the boys responsibility. You don't teach your boys self-control. How will they learn it as adults? Just the same way, ladies, if you don't teach self-esteem when they were children and during their teenage years, it will affect them in their adult years. If you don't instill self-control in your sons, you are setting them up for massive disaster. Because a lot of men lack self-control. A lot of men lack self-control. And part of the reason is because it was not instilled when they were growing up. And when it should have been done. I have 2 sons. Constantly, daily, it's an intentional thing. so that you don't raise people who will feel that, oh, it is their right to do whatever they like to do. It is their right to host 100 women as far as they can take care of the 100 women, not minding the emotions of the next person. Become so self-centered, and we use all sorts of tradition to enable what we are doing. We need to begin to hold our children, our sons, our daughters, do things differently. Stop with this thing of all men are that, all men are this, and you go ahead and see somebody who is obviously not good for you. Obviously not good for you, you will go in. And then you begin to chase the person round town with all the girls they are going with. Did you not see these things? I'm talking to us women today. We need to own these things. We need to begin to do a lot of things differently. What is it? Why are we enabling these things? Why are we excusing it and condoning it? Why? This mindset we need to stop. You have to begin to hold people accountable for their actions. So this kind of mindset is what is even enabling these people to keep at what they are doing. We keep excusing them. We keep condoning it. We need to stop. We need to stop. Another reason women are being abused is that we don't set clear boundaries. Women, we don't set clear boundaries. You need to set boundaries on how you are how you should be treated, and lines not to cross. People cannot just walk all over you and like that, and you just take it. It's because he's the man. Who says because he's the man he has the absolute right to trample on your feelings, on your emotions, and all that? And this is begin even when we are having relationships. You should be able to determine how you are treated because you are self-aware. You know who you are. And people can just trample on you and treat you anyhow. Everything I'm talking about today is how we can begin to look inward as women and begin to see how we need to do things differently. It's not about attacking, calling them all sorts of names, becoming violent and all that. We need to change strategy. We need to change. Read, grow yourself, develop yourself. A lot of us take these things because we feel that when you take away the man in our lives, we are absolutely nothing. So you don't want to hold anybody accountable. You don't want to do anything to help yourself. We need to start doing a whole lot of things differently. And when you do these things, see, a real man who is for you will appreciate you for standing up and standing in your place as a person and determining how you are treated. Don't allow people walk all over you, all in the name of whatever they call it. It's not allowed. It's not okay. It's not okay. And make better choices. Now, for the singles, it is time to make better choices. Make better choices. Don't go and choose an abuser and expect not to be abused. Look out for these abusers when you are still single and in a relationship. If you see any sign of abuse, take a pause. It's either you abort that mission, like I said yesterday, abort the mission, take a pause and ensure that wherever it is coming from, it is nipped. Also find out how you are giving up things that will set you up to be abused. These things are very, very critical. We need to start doing a lot of things differently as women. And now, we also as parents, we need to also look at how we are parenting the next generation and see where we have gotten it wrong. Maybe where our own parents got it wrong without even knowing, because of the knowledge available to them. So they did the best they could do. We can see a whole lot going on now. There is a root cause. So every parent, this is actually a wake-up call for every single parent parenting the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas. We have to sit up. Knowledge, you can't do it without knowledge today. You need to learn. You need to learn. You need to learn. You need to read. You need to go for courses. Find out how to raise children with healthy self-esteem, how to raise girls with healthy self-esteem, how to raise boys with good self-control, with who have respect for women. We need to intentionally ensure that our sons are taught self-control and ensure that our sons are taught how to respect women from the cradle. You don't ever raise your hand to hit a woman. The only time you raise your hand on a woman is to protect her from danger. So you cannot be the danger. You need to sit your sons down and teach them these things intentionally, so they don't grow up to become abusers. When we come out on social media and we are shouting, these men, parents that join to shout that shout, also make sure that you are not in your own house raising a son that will become an abuser tomorrow. When we come on social media to shout, women, if it's not working, leave. If it's not working, kill him. If it's not working, bounce. If it's not working, all that. These are good, valid. You are entitled to your opinion. You are free to give your counsel. But please make sure that that daughter in your home, you are raising her differently so that she doesn't wake up tomorrow and go and choose somebody that will abuse her as a spouse. And go into a relationship with a boyfriend who is an abuser. You need to raise your daughters differently to be able to spot the signs of abuse. First of all, to have very healthy sense of self-image, self-confidence, create boundaries, know how she's to be treated. So both of you as parents will need to join hands together to raise people who can thrive. So apart from trying to blame who we want to blame, we have to look inwards and find out how we are going to start doing things differently so that we can break the cycle. Let us not raise people who wake up and condone. See, I see a lot of when I'm in sessions and you hear the way some women talk, you want to strangle some people. You will stop. See, you will stop literally casting blame on the men, because you will see how we are part of our problems, how we are the one contributing like 90%. So how are you able to sit and take all this and you are not doing much? You're not doing anything. You find us even excusing it. It's because I now did not cook well. That's why he did it. So you don't want to know half of it. Sometimes, so when people do all these things they do on social media, we just keep quiet and look. Because when we start seeing, when we hear stories, when we hear the real issues, we need to know that it's not about the blames and all that. We need to go and we need to overhaul our system. The system we are using is not working. The system we are using is not working. As parents, we need to become somebody different, capable of raising children that will be fine. So you can't be abusing your children and expect them not to be abused tomorrow. You can't be talking down on your children, call them all sorts of names, all in the name that you're the parent. So you have authority over them. So you can do whatever you like with them. You are setting them up for any other person that they see as authority in their lives to do whatever they like with them. So the next time you are yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling at your children, you need to know what you're doing. The next time you allow your children see toxicity, see abuse, see all this violence going on, handle your adult issues away from your children. Because what you're doing, you're normalizing what marriage should be. You are the first model of marriage for your children. So the quality of your marriage will affect the quality of your parenting, and it will affect the quality of people you're going to raise. So if your children see abuse, both of you abuse each other. They see their parents call themselves names. They see their parents give each other cold treatment. They see their parents yell and fight and throw things. What do you think you're setting, you're programming? Well, remember, you are their first role model. So whatever you are modeling, ask yourself, whatever you are modeling is what they are going to carry into their own relationships. So that's the standard you're setting. So you need to look inwards and see how you're going to overhaul a lot of things so that you don't raise children that will take abuse or raise sons that will become abusers. What do you think will happen if we look inward and begin to do a lot of things differently? Like I said, some of these things will fizzle away because they don't know it. They can't give what they don't have. They don't know abuse. They don't know to take these things. So when somebody does it to them, first time, they are out of the door. So they are able to attract their kind. They will attract somebody that will treat them like the queen that they are. Because you have done a good job at teaching them how to spot these things and how to be treated. We need to start looking at these issues from a different perspective. Now, for those of us who are in marriage and are being abused, there is a whole lot of things you can start doing. This is not why we are here today. I'm not here to, and these things, some of these things are not things that will come out on social media and will start reading out this advice because they are very individualized and they are unique. Each of these cases are unique. So you may need to book a session. You may need to talk to a counselor. You may need to talk to a therapist to walk you through these processes. Truth is, there are ways. There are ways to curb abuse. Yes. There are ways to curb abuse in marriages. There are things you can do. It's not about the fighting. It's not about the basbos. Those things do not help. There are proven things you can do to help yourself and curb these excesses. So this will be all for today. This one here he needs some attention. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Chomi Onadike, thank you for being here. Mrs. Onyeka, thank you for joining me. Chika Ozioma Ndukuba, thank you. I see you all. Thank you all for watching me. Do drop a comment in the comment section. I'd like to read from you. I'd like to hear from you as well. What did you get from this session? If you'd like to add anything to it, I'd like to read your contributions as well. Thank you for joining me. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you